Welcome to Questions with Mike. I'm Mike. Today's question is, what if I don't like my parents? Which, first of all, let's just let that sit in for a second. I know this is a terrible question, and I know none of you guys would ever ask this, but someone's asking it. Let's talk about it, you guys. What if you don't like your parents? What if, and it's not just like, oh, I'm angsty teenager phase. Like, what if it's like, my parents actually kind of suck as people? Like, what if it's like, my parents are selfish or manipulative or abusive or whatever the things might be? What if that's the case? What do? You know? In my line of work, I deal with a lot of people, especially at a certain age in their life, where they're like starting to figure out who they are as adults, who are they like in general, and then specifically, what do they do with all these relationships? And then obviously parents come into that. How do I have an adult relationship with my parents, one that's functional and like based on things I actually care about and believe in and that are authentic, rather than just like trying to continue to pay tribute to a system and a dynamic that I actually don't have a value for anymore, right? I don't not love my parents, it's I don't love the way that my parents and I connect, right? How do we change that? Are you allowed to, right? So I have to continue to push, poke at that thing and be like, hey, what's going on here? So we want to start with a baseline here. If you don't like your parents, first of all, I want to give you permission to not like them. It's okay. You're allowed to not like your parents. I don't want you to not like your parents. I don't think that it's a good idea for you to be at odds with them or to lack value for them. It's really healthy to have honor in your heart for your parents, but here's the deal. Honor is not a course of action or an expression. Honor is a spirit. And it's if you want to actually have honor in your heart for your parents, which is where it matters, you're going to need to have permission to not have to honor them. It won't be real if you have to do it. Any form of obligation in this place will steal from the authenticity of it. It will strip it of its power, of its legitimacy, and you'll be left with form, with practice, with formula. So we got to start with the freedom that you don't have to like these people. You don't have to have a relationship with them. If you need to cut them out of your life for 6 months, you're allowed to do that. Am I recommending that you do that? No, I don't think that's a good idea. Unless you need that in order to work out where your heart motivation actually is in that relationship. Obviously, there's all kinds of ways this can go wrong and this can go badly, and it sounds like I can give you permission to just like cut off a relationship, and I'm not saying that. I don't think that's a good idea. I think it's actually really detrimental to you to cut these people off, to let that happen in your heart. Regardless of who they are and how they treat you, there is a level of connection you could still afford. What that level is, I don't know. That's between you and them. But having honor in your heart for these people, for the fact that they brought you into this world, that you were entrusted to them, that they did whatever they did do to contribute to your life, like that's stuff you can pull from to actually allow yourself to align with why you might appreciate and value and honor who they are and what they've done. I'm not interested in condoning dysfunctional behavior patterns and like relational dynamics that are destructive. Like that's not awesome. We need to change that. And so getting out of a system where there's a strong overtone and like an economy even in the way that people relate in a family or a household or whatever, when you come out of that and you grow and you heal and you change and then you come back into that environment and the ways that it's uniquely dysfunctional, you have some choices to make, right, as an individual. And from that place, we must have permission to not have to come under that stuff that we left and grew away from, right? I don't mean rebellion. I don't mean isolation. I don't mean independence in a bad way. I mean you actually learning how to walk out who you are without these external motivators, right? And then you get to embrace and be that person. And then from that place, you get to come to them and be that person with them. And you guys get to renegotiate. What is your relationship now? How does it work now? Do they still get to treat you like that, or does that need to change? And what does it look like for you to step out of that stuff and to bring the full version of you here, right? How do we not punish and control each other? How do we not try to get each other to be a certain way in the relationship in order for us to be okay, right? We give permission to our parents to be who they are, right? Some of us in the younger generation, we go on this journey, we become who we are, and then now we expect our parents to align with the things that we've discovered and we've gone through and the things that changed about us. We're like, you need to be this now. You're supposed to be this with me. You never gave this to me. And we have all these demands and expectations that actually set them up for failure. Because if you look at the timeline of your family, you betrayed them. You know what I mean? If you think about it, they raised you in a certain way, you had a certain set of values, and then you left and changed your values. And then when you come back and you get mad at them for having the same values they've had your whole life, that's not their fault. Like, you're the one who changed, right? So you get to come in a humble posture and recognize they're still in a lifestyle pattern or value system or whatever that's contrary to what you value, and that's okay. And we don't get to come into their home and demand that they change that. That's not appropriate. It doesn't mean you have to agree with it or come under it, but it also doesn't give you permission to demand that they be different because you've changed. You know what I mean? And so we get to come into this place with a heart posture and an intention that we care about these people. We have honor here. And from that place, how do we then now actually have a relationship with them? I want to propose you can't actually have that authentic opportunity to legitimately build a real relationship if you have to like these people. If you owe them, gratitude or affection or whatever, those things cannot be given out of obligation. If they're given out of obligation, they're not those things anymore. It's performance. It's violation. It's deceit. It's not those things. Gratitude must be given out of freedom. And if you owe this to them and you have to do it, it's not a big win. Before I conclude this, I just want to throw in there, you guys, give this video a like if you like it. Subscribe to this channel. We'd love for you guys to jump on this journey with us and keep coming. Hit that bell button so you get notifications of the videos coming forward. There's that. Anyway, so in order to actually step into an authentic, powerful dynamic with our parents, where we could admit, I don't like them. I don't like who they are. I don't like what they're doing. I don't like how they treat me. You have to be able to admit that first before you can actually come with something better to the table, right? Before love can lead you there. There needs to be freedom first. And so you get to say, you know what? I need to admit, I don't like him. I don't like her. I don't like them. That's okay. Be honest about it. Look at it. And then just don't stay there. Unpack it. Allow love to lead you through that place. And as you actually admit what's coming up, and then you let the Lord burn it alive in his presence and in his personhood, you start to actually get to see them in a different light. You start to get to tap into compassion and understanding and patience. And you no longer demand stuff from them in order for you to be okay. You start being able to come in and serve because you don't need them to be anything, because you're being sourced by something else from him, right? And from that place, you get to actually bring reconciliation, healing, transformation, whatever. And obviously understanding they have a process too, just like you did, right? And so obviously I'm speaking to the younger generation here. There's a whole lot to be said to the older generation as well. And there's all kinds of dynamics that we have to talk about here. That's not the occasion of this video. The point is, you guys, yeah, you have permission not to like them. You need that permission in order for this to become what it's supposed to be. Just don't accept that. Don't stay there. There's better than that for all of us. All right? If you guys have any comments or thoughts on that, I know this can be a really subjective topic and things can get kind of weird and crazy. Feel free to throw some comments below. We'd love to hear your thoughts. And also, if you have any other questions you want us to answer from this series, you can shoot us an email at contact@mikemayashiro.com with questions with Mike in the subject line, and we will see you next time.